know, you're sitting upright like a boss and you feel that power, you feel that thrust. Let's catch up with our friends there. Time to get rid of that ugly cat con and put some nice full system exhaust. And I have to tell you, BMWs have one of the best dash. Look at this XR. One thing about this motorcycle that I don't like. What's up guys, Farhan here. Welcome to another vlog. The weather is nice and sunny today. It's a very good morning and I'm very excited today because I'm taking out my new beast on a ride. Those of you who have followed me on Instagram would have already seen it, but here it is, the S1000 XR. Looks beautiful in this triple black paint scheme. It looks really cool and elegant. So basically this is an S1000 RR with adventure clothing. Distraction. Wow, that's a boosa. It's got an upright stance, so it is not an adventure motorcycle like the GSA, which is meant to go anywhere on all kind of roads. This is a sport tourer. You can see this has 17-inch wheels. It is meant for sport touring. Basically, it is meant to munch miles like a boss, sitting upright and doing some good speeds, because it's got the S1000 RR motor in here. Yep, it is slightly detuned compared to the S1000 RR. The S1000 RR makes well over 200 bhp. This makes about 165 to 170 bhp, but then it's got a lot of accessible power in the initial and mid-range, which makes it a lot more usable to ride around in the city, or while you're touring it's a lot usable. But man, when you're sitting upright, the power is really good. Yeah, I was just vlogging. Yeah, that's okay. Thank you man. What's your name? Rahul. Okay, nice meeting you. Thank you so much.
On this side, and I realized that you are the only one who have a bike like this.
Okay, you saw the bike already. That
the bike was coming from that side.
Okay. Cool. Thank you so much. You'll be in the vlog. Cool, bro. See ya. Yes, it's got Brembo brakes, so the braking is really good. Mazuki suspensions, upside down forks, 45mm, and it's got about 150mm of suspension travel, which is quite decent for a sport tourer. Twin disc Brembo in the front. On the rear, this has got the BMW branding on it. Yes, it's got a nice stance, looks tall and big. It's got these LED headlamps. Not sure if you can see so much of it in the sunlight, but yeah, it looks really cool, the LEDs. These are Metzeler Road Tech tires, which are pretty good for sport touring. It's very good in wet conditions too. This is what the bike came with. So yep, it's got these tail lights which have the indicators also integrated into it, just like the S1000 RR. And if you see here, this is a top rack to mount luggage, which also moves around a bit. So I was told that this has a bit of a play so that the luggage doesn't stay very stiff here, and when you're cornering, this also moves along with you. So that is pretty cool. Not too many accessories on it right now. This is SW Motic crash guard. This was put in by the previous owner. I'll tell you more about him later. It's got the basic radiator guard. Pretty much a stock motorcycle, and I have to accessorize it. There are a lot of things I have in mind. It's got a quick shifter here, up and down. It's got an auto blipper. BMW calls it the Shift Assist Pro. Seat is pretty comfortable and nice. It's got a nice XR branding here, and there is some good support for the back for the rider. Yep, so it's got a keyless ignition. You can simply turn this on. And I have to tell you, BMWs have one of the best dash. Look at this XR, about 4,000 kilometers on the odo, and it's got a pretty comprehensive dash with a lot of information. So here there are different riding modes: rain, road, dynamic Pro, which is user configurable. And you've got electronic suspension on this, by the way. You see this is the Pro variant, which comes with electronic suspension. You've got a nice toggle switch. So here's the information, my vehicle, this is the range, odometer, battery voltage, the trip meters. It's showing the fuel efficiency. I'm getting about 11 kilometers per liter right now. And here you've got the recommended tire pressure, 42.6 psi for the rear and 36.8. Since the motorcycle is not running now, it's not showing what's the actual psi, but it will show you the actual tire pressure. And if the tire pressure goes down drastically, it throws in a warning saying tire pressure is low. And it is a big warning that comes up, so you will not miss it. Warnings, they come up pretty big. Even if it's low on fuel, it just pops up big and you will not miss it. Distance to my next service in June 2025, it seems, and the remaining distance 8391. Here's the clock. Yep, so a lot of information here. There's still a lot for me to explore in this motorcycle. Here we have got apparently the sport dash. Oh, here you've got dynamic traction control. There's a lean angle sensor here. It shows how much you're leaning. So right now it is at 0, but once I start riding, it'll show the lean angle. The sport mode, there's navigation which is not enabled currently on the motorcycle. There's media, there's some way to connect the phone to the motorcycle. I still don't know what are the functions. A lot of things. You can connect the intercom to the motorcycle and stuff. So yep, a very comprehensive dash. There is this navigation holder from BMW. I don't have the device yet. It's got an adjustable windscreen here. With just one finger you can pull this up, it goes up and it goes down here. So the mechanism is pretty nice and simple. Here you've got space to just keep your key fob if required. So this is what the key fob looks like. You see this? BMW, pretty cool. I really like how easy this is to use. Unlike a few other motorcycles like the Triumph, I've seen the Triumph 1200, Tiger, and maybe the Rocket GT. The keyless ignition is a bit complicated. You have to wait for it, keep the key fob very close to the dash or something, and then it works. But in this bike it's pretty simple. The key fob is currently in my pocket. I can just switch this off. It's so simple. I switch this off and then a long press here and the motorcycle is locked. You see this? It is locked now. I do a long press again, it's unlocked, and simply press this button and the ignition turns on. Yep. The bike also has heated grips, by the way, and it's got 3 levels of heated grips. You see here, 3, 2, 1. So the amount of heat you want, you can adjust that. It's got a 20-liter fuel tank, which is pretty good for a sport tourer. It's not an all-out adventure motorcycle. A few adventure motorcycles have up to 30 liters, but this is a sport tourer, so it's okay. Does the job. The bike is pretty fun to ride. Oh, there's a Porsche coming. Wow, just look at that. So beautiful. One thing about this motorcycle that I don't like, look at this, the ground clearance is pretty low. The catcon is too big here. So time to get rid of this very soon. Something is on the way already. A full system exhaust is coming soon. It is pretty bad, I think. Again, this is not an adventure motorcycle, but yeah, when I ride with my pillion, with my wife or whoever it is, it tends to always scrape the humps. At least in our Bangalore roads, whatever humps we have, it always scrapes. So I have to be really careful and really slow all the time. So time to get rid of that ugly catcon and put some nice full system exhaust soon. Let's go on a ride now. I'm sure you all are waiting to hear what this sounds like. It's a stock exhaust. It's an inline 4. It sounds sweet, but yep, it's a stock exhaust. So nothing too fancy. Hey, where's the key?
This is the thing with this BMWs, bro. Keyless technology.
Yeah.
Sometimes you forget the key in town.
That's a good safety thing, no? Now since it is away, the bike is not starting. Yep. So now the bike should start. I'll show you what this sounds like. Yep. Here it is. Let's go. So the seat height is about 850 mm, which is pretty tall. I'm 6 feet tall, so I'm able to manage with the stock seat, and it is okay. But yeah, initially it took some time for me to get used to it, because I'm coming from super sport motorcycles which are not this tall. The RS-V4 is tall though, but yeah, this is a completely different stance for me, so it took some time to get used to it, but now I'm all good. But for shorter riders, I'm sure they'll need the lower seat height option. So there is an accessory lower seat which will reduce the seat height drastically. Woo! Almost popped a wheelie. I think I forgot to put my earplugs on. It is a bit noisy with this race helmet, the RI RX-7V. I'll quickly put on the earplugs now. I want to put my earplugs on. With this race helmet, it's pretty noisy. So yes, I'm wearing the RI RX-7V, which is a pure race helmet, and when you're sitting upright it gets a little noisy, actually very noisy. But the moment you're at the tucked down position, which you are on a super sport, it is perfect. It's one of the best helmets you can have for a super sport motorcycle, but not very suitable for this upright stance. So I think it's time to get a touring helmet soon. Let's see. You guys have any suggestions, you can suggest me. I had the RI Sport Touring helmet in mind. Yeah, you see the hazard light is on. Let's see the setting of the windscreen. I think yeah, I'll have it down for now, and I'll raise it up again to see what it feels like. Yeah, with the earplugs makes a lot of difference, and it's always good to have the earplugs, in fact, because there's a lot of wind noise, there's a lot of unwanted noise you will hear, the exhaust note and stuff, so it's better to have the earplugs on. Yeah, it gets to this 200 speed quite easily. So this is something the adventure motorcycles cannot do, unless it's something like maybe the Multistrada V4. But Multistrada V4 again is a road biased model, but I think the rally with the spoke wheels will be more off-road focused. Got an empty stretch, so let's try this. Brakes are pretty good. So since I'm coming from super sports motorcycles, you will feel a bit of a dive because this has got taller suspension. But then I've ridden other motorcycles, other adventure motorcycles, and some other bikes like the Multistrada 1200. I've not ridden the V4 though. It's pretty good. The braking is pretty good. The handling is quite nice. It's very nimble for a bike of this size, to be honest. So this weighs about 226 kilos curb weight, which is pretty good. It doesn't feel too heavy. It's quite nimble actually. Let's catch up with our friends there. yeah, let them have some fun. They're all my friends, by the way. I ride with them. So these are the times sometimes when I miss my RSV4. The RSV4 is something I still miss, but yeah, I've ridden various motorcycles from nakeds to super sports. I've had super sport motorcycles for about 7 years now. I still have the RSV4 1100 factory, which I am looking to sell. But yeah, the RSV4 1100 factory is a lovely motorcycle. I mean, it's got so much of character. That V4 engine has so much of punch. It's an amazing machine. I mean, for me, the RSV4 was the ultimate superbike. I didn't want anything else. I always had this thing in mind that if I have to move to something comfortable, it will not be an ADV motorcycle. It had to be something like the S1000 XR, because it is fast and it is comfortable. You can sit upright like this, like a boss, and still go fast. The brakes are pretty good. I think it's got a combi braking system, sort of a combi braking system, because when I use the front brake, I can see the rear is also being applied automatically. So I feel that when I'm using the front brake alone and not using too much of rear, the rear brake is also getting engaged a bit. I can feel the play on the rear brake lever. The S1000 XR is a brilliant option. The other option that I could have considered is the Multistrada V4. That's DJ on wheels, my buddy on the TRK 500. I've used the Italian motorcycles for some time. They've got their own niggles, and they do heat up. The V4s do heat up. So I wanted something peaceful. So this way, this inline 4-cylinder doesn't heat up so much, and it's smooth. It sounds lovely. It sounds amazing, and I just can't wait to get the exhaust on this. It is coming soon. I'm not going to disclose what exhaust it is. Keep following me and you'll see what exhaust it is, but it's gonna be kick-ass on this motorcycle. Yep, so it's got the dynamic suspensions which adapts to the road conditions automatically, and surprisingly, even for our Indian conditions, it's working really well. I mean, it is quite plush wherever it needs to be. It's taking those uneven undulations really well. So it's a pakka sport tourer. I would say this is more like an ultimate sport tourer. So you have the other motorcycles like the Ninja 1000 SX, which are slightly forward set, not as much as the track bikes, but slightly forward set, which is again good. But then here you're sitting upright and you're still going fast. So this has got its own fun. You know, usually when you're all crouched down completely on a super sport motorcycle, and you will not feel so much of wind blast due to the aerodynamics, but this is a different fun. You know, you're sitting upright like a boss and you feel that power, you feel that thrust. Woo! Corner. I don't like this crash guard. Somehow it keeps coming in my way so I'm used to cornering a bit. I'm coming from super sports, right? So I tend to slightly put my leg out. I'm not hanging off or anything, but slightly when I take my knee out, this keeps touching. So those of you who have the S1000 XR and have some suggestions from me, please suggest. I somehow do not like this coming in my way when I'm trying to corner. So my friend DV had the S1000 XR. He had the carbon fiber crash guards from the BMW package. So those look pretty good, but I'm not sure about the carbon fiber crash guards, how they work. I mean, after a fall, it will disintegrate, and it's gonna be very expensive to fix something like that, and they are very expensive, obviously. 1 lakh rupees for each side. So any suggestions for a good crash guard, please advise the folks who are using the S1000 XR. talk about windscreen. How do I feel with this? So, yep, I do feel quite a lot of wind buffeting here. The windscreen is good. It is quite tall, but then I am 6 feet tall and I'm sitting quite high. I do feel a lot of wind buffeting coming onto my helmet. So I've already watched some international reviews, and the MRA windscreen is something that a lot of people suggested, so I've placed order for that. That is coming soon as well. So I hope with that I'll feel a lot more confident, and then I will see if I need to invest on a touring helmet or not. Because I've made that investment of the windscreen, I'll see if that works, and if I still feel some wind buffeting, it's time to get a touring helmet then. A lot of my friends were happy with this decision of me getting the XR because yeah, it somehow looks good for me. I'm tall and I wanted something comfortable now. Again, I've ridden Super Sports for 7 years, all that backache and everything. So now this is peaceful. I can sit upright and do really long distances comfortably. So this is hopefully something I will be able to do. I intend to do some touring. But some of my friends, my super sport buddies, were not happy with me getting the XR already. They're like, you still have some time, you can ride super sports for some more time and then move to an XR. Obviously it's because we all used to ride quite fast, and they've been enjoying my company, and they feel that I might become a bit slow with the XR, but then I will get used to this motorcycle eventually. But yeah, it is true, when there is a super sport next to you, the super sports are just gonna blaze, and that's the time when sometimes I feel like I will miss my RS-V4. But then it's okay, guys. I mean, I'm feeling comfortable, I'm happy about this bike, sitting upright and doing good speeds, do some touring, do some long distances. Eventually I think they will also get into these kind of motorcycles. So I did not want an all-out adventure motorcycle. One is because I do not intend to do a lot of off-roading or going on really bad off-road terrain. Guys, I'm coming from an RS-V4 that made about 235 bhp with all the tune and exhaust and everything. So going from that kind of power directly to an ADV, maza nahi aayega, you will not get that feel. So I still wanted something decently fast. This is not as fast as the Super Sports obviously, but it's got very good usable torque, usable power. It's still a very fast sport tourer. It can do 250-260 kilometers per hour, I think, quite easily. I don't know, I think it can do more, 270 kilometers per hour or so, and maybe with an exhaust and tune I've heard people doing even 290s or so. It's not like we do the speeds all the time, but I'm just talking about what the bike will be capable of with all these mods. But yeah, the way this gets to 200 is quite quick. I mean, no adventure bike would do it. So, moving from the 235 bhp directly to an ADV that makes about 130-140 horsepower, hazam nahi hota hai. You can't digest that. At least after, just after riding super sports for so long. Maybe eventually we will, when I intend to do a little more off-roading, then we can look at an adventure tourer. But for now, I'm really happy with this. It really serves the purpose. So the S1000 XR is really good for people who have been riding super sports for a while and they want to move to something comfortable and yet fast. It is good for those guys. Nice machine. It's a very good all-rounder. You can do some touring, you can do guards, and I think it will feel good on the corners. It's not too heavy. Yeah, I can use this in the city also so comfortably. Now I'm not comparing it to the smaller motorcycles, I'm comparing it to the super sports that I've been riding. The RS-V4, especially in the city, it tends to heat up quite a lot. You will feel a lot of heat, which makes it very uneasy, and that heat along with the super sport stance it really tires you. Whereas this one, I'm just sitting upright like a boss and I'm riding. It is okay to maneuver. I mean, it doesn't feel too heavy. Probably, yeah, I still have to get used to taking those U-turns and all because I'm not used to this kind of stance. But otherwise, it's quite easy to maneuver around even in the city. So this is not like an ownership review or anything I'm making yet. I've had the motorcycle for just about 700 kilometers now. Yep, so I got the motorcycle about 2 to 3 months back, but I did not unveil it. I did not talk about it because I was still in the process of deciding whether I should sell the RSP4 or keep this, because it's not an easy decision, guys. The RSP4 is a very special motorcycle. It looks so beautiful. It's got that beautiful V4 engine that is so punchy. It's loaded with character, and it's a very rare motorcycle. There's only one in India in that lava red paint scheme. It's a very special motorcycle. The decision was not easy, so I was still deciding whether should I keep the RSP4 or should I keep this or should I sell this motorcycle. Yep, and I had the RS457 as well, so I sold that off due to some commitments. I just sold that motorcycle. The RSP4 is still available. I'm gonna sell it soon. I'm getting a major service done on the motorcycle. It's done about 17 to 18,000 kilometers. The major service is due, so I thought I'll get all that done and then sell the motorcycle so that the next owner has a very hassle-free experience.